So this is one of these wonderful little CDs that I got sent to me. This we played a track by the Mercury Tree, which is the project that's kind of headed up by Ben Spees. I've got their new CD on the way. Ben's just notified me that it's been sent, so thank you, Ben. But this is his collaboration with, I want to say the name right now, Damon Waitkus of Jacko the Clock. I don't know what that is. But the reason I'm thinking about this is we're talking about harmonics and all of that. So that brings in the whole idea of musical scale and all of these kind of things. And this is microtonal music. Don't switch off. Don't switch off, because I promise you it'll be good. It will. It'll start off a bit uncomfortable. You'll go, what? It's all out of tune. Because that's my first reaction. Well, they didn't tune these instruments. But they do explain, I think they explain it here, they certainly explain it on the CD. Yeah, they give you the tunings. And I don't know what this means, but I can tell you this track we're going to play is called Azimuth of Sunrise, so it's the first track off that album. And they tell me that this tuning is 24 Edo. I don't know what that means, but you can figure it out if you want to. You can go and look and figure out why this sounds the way it does. And I think this is wonderful stuff, because you don't hear this. It sounds Eastern, foreign, alien at first, and then it doesn't. It's sort of, for me anyway, there comes a magical point during this piece where the discomfort with the tuning goes away, and you're just left with what's happening, and it's like a new landscape of music opening up. So give it a minute, and it'll probably all swim into focus. So right, this is a track called Azimuth of Sunrise from the album Ventifacts by Ventifacts, as usual, obtainable through Bandcamp.
Wow, I dug that a lot. That was good. You know what that reminded me the most of? It sounded like the Beatles meets Mahavishnu Orchestra to me. which I know is a strange combination. And it's probably just the violin, because the violin playing was fantastic, and it reminded me of Jerry Goodman, who's one of my favorite violin players. And he always I've always seemed to me anyway, like in Mahavishnu, he liked to lean into microtonal stuff, which people would probably say he was out of tune, but knowing how good of a violin player is, I don't think he plays out of tune. I think he plays exactly what he intends on, and John McLaughlin was always bending and doing weird stuff, which, is microtonal in itself, so the Jerry Goodman was really good at bringing that same vibe. But for some reason, because violin is so scrutinized, it's not okay for a violin to be out of tune, but it's okay for a guitar to be out of tune, because guitars are inherently out of tune. So, but yeah, you know what? I didn't find that, maybe it's because of my experience with microtonal music, I didn't find that as hard to get into as you prepared me to, but that's probably because of my experience with microtonal music. I listened to a lot of distasteful microtonal music, so that's not distasteful at all. That was wonderful. It was great. I loved the drums, like just the constant the toms going all the time everywhere, but because it was so consistent and there, it wasn't bombastic. It was almost like a single note rather than 1,000 notes, and it carried the song perfectly. It was very tasteful. Nothing was overdone. Those guys work together very well. I don't know if they both live in Vermont, or if they're just work together online, and they, because they call it it's a bi-coastal collaboration. So clearly they live, probably one guy's in Vermont and one guy's in California, maybe. I don't know. Vermont's like a Canadian part of Canada, or as far as the U.S. is concerned. Like they're serious about their maple trees and their maple syrup. I get along with people from Vermont and other northern states. They feel like they're Canadian to me. Right. Not that matters. I just know you don't see a lot of musicians from Vermont. I don't see that. I don't hear a lot of musicians hailing from Vermont. Like it's like Nova Scotia or something. Nothing's happening.
Yeah.
But it's wonderful. I'm gonna have to pick that up. That's Azimuth of Sunrise. Now, what is azimuth? That sounds like something that seems ancient to me. Do you know the meaning of that word? Is that
the azimuth? The azimuth? Is it like a pivot point or something like that, or is it the peak? I don't know. I need to look up.
What's funny? As soon as you type, you're right. It's an angle. The direction of a celestial object from the observer expressed as the angular distance from the north or south of the point of. Oh well, okay, that's perfect. That's actually a word you would use to describe a sunrise. So
pretty good.
So, all right. No, that's good stuff. Ventifacts. Yeah, so I've been listening to the Mercury Tree. I know you recommended a song recently too. I dug. I'm going to dig more into Mercury Tree. It sounded to me like I didn't think that was Ben Spee singing there. That was probably Damon singing. What do you think, or was that Ben?
I
singing?
don't really know. I couldn't tell you. I don't really know. I don't know very much. I only know what's on the Bandcamp page. That's all I really know about what they do. So I don't have an ear for the difference between them at the moment. But I love the vocals. The vocals were great.
They were, because the few Mercury Tree songs I've heard so far, that's, to me, his voice is the part I dislike the most. And it's not like he's got his bad voice. There's just something very middle of the road sound to it that just, I don't know. It's like, I don't know how to, other than that, it just sounds very basic to me. Not that his notes are in tune, he's a good singer and whatnot, but the singing in that spoke to me the same way John Lennon and Paul McCartney would when they sung. That was the vocals, that was what really reminded me of the Beatles. Right. Anything in there was the way they sang.
Yeah, I think Ben.
It's not a criticism.
Ben has got he's got one of those voices that sounds to me a bit like Stephen Wilson. It's one of the reasons I didn't click with the Porcupine Tree stuff for a long time. Was I didn't like the vocals. The vocals were just like, they were just there, but they weren't doing anything to me. But I've since realised that that's not really a problem for me. It was just I don't know at the time. I just made a judgment on it. But yeah, I know what you mean. Some vocals are they're in tune. The diction's perfect, but they're not emoting perhaps the way that you think the material deserves sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And you're right, Stephen Wilson is guilty of that. I found over the years he's gotten better with it. But yeah, you can tell the way I see Steven Wilson is he's a songwriter trapped in a musician's body. You know, like
Yeah.
you know, because I've heard him say he's not a singer. He says he's not a guitar player. You know, yet he is a good singer and he's a very good guitar player. You know, but I get what he's saying. He's no Guthrie Gauvin on guitar.
Yeah.
Right. And he's no Robert Plant on vocals. You know, but he has the ability to write the music, the best music that's ever been written, but doesn't have the ability to perform it. You know, necessarily. But, he's
perhaps the more acceptable side of a whole bunch of people who fall into that category, or fall into the category of being great musicians but not great singers. And there's a few people, I won't name names, but there's a few people I've come across that I think are like that. They're really great musicians, but you really need to get someone else to sing. Please get someone else to sing, because they could do your material so much more justice than you can. And it's such a shame when that happens. And I know why. It's another wage in the band that you don't want to have to pay, and it's your song and you should know how it goes and all that. Yeah, but there's something that a vocalist can, a steeped in the wool kind of vocalist can bring to a piece that someone who just sings can't, you know? Yes, I know.
Yeah, that's true. You know, and sometimes it's the opposite too. They hire the vocalist, who on paper is amazing but doesn't speak. Like I think Dream Theater's weakest link is their singer. Even though he's an amazing singer, he does very well. But if I go see Dream Theater live, about 2/3 of the way through the show, I just want his microphone to be taken away. You know, because it just.
I think that's
there's something about.
That's a common criticism of that band, and I wonder if that's why they're bringing Devin Townsend on for some of the. I asked on the YouTube video, why is Devin Townsend there, and people explained that.
He was opening for them.
He was opening for them, but he was. Gosh, what's the singer's name from Dream Theater? I've forgotten it.
James LaBrie.
James LaBrie, who I always think of as the big cheese, because Brie's a cheese. That's how I should remember it. Anyway.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay.
Yeah, he
sounds cheesy too.
He was. Oh, you went there. You went right there. Yeah, maybe you should stay off social media. It's a good idea.
Did you just say James LaBrie sounds cheesy?
Yeah, but they had LaBrie was on stage with Devin Townsend as Devin Townsend was doing the Dream Theater stuff that LaBrie was unable to do in that moment. And I said, what's going on here? And they said the people who knew explained to me that LaBrie was having trouble with his voice. And I thought, rather uncharitably, hasn't he always had trouble with his voice? Is that not the very definition of what he's struggled with down the years? Because he's up against the very best singers in the world, you know, that have come before him and are contemporary with him. Devin Townsend being one of them. And I thought, is this LaBrie's way out? Is this him saying, this is the guy I want to sing instead of me? Because I think Townsend would do at least as good a job on any future material, and also covering for any past material as well. And I just wondered if that was, because it looked very friendly. It wasn't like LaBrie left the stage. It was like he had his arm around him and he was like saying, you know, this is cool. Yeah,
you know what? Knowing that Devin Townsend as well as I do, I can't imagine Devin Townsend would ever consider singing for Dream Theater. I mean, if they asked him, I mean, maybe he would, just because he's a very musical, fruitful guy and he likes to do stuff everywhere. But yeah, I don't know. You know what? I'm not sure, because I know LaBrie has struggled with his voice. On their very first tour, he tore a vocal cord, and he's been struggling with that ever since.
I was reading about it, and he did have something. Yeah, he had some real problems and has had real problems. It's a shame, really, because, you know, I just don't like his voice, really, I'll be honest. I just don't like it. I don't. It's not the part of Dream Theater that I turn up for, let's put it that way.
No, me either.
Yeah.
No, so I'll defend him, because there's like when you sit down and listen to him sing and just pay attention to his voice, it's especially on the records, it's spectacular. Like he can hit beautiful notes, and his ability to emote, and you know, whatnot. It's very fitting, but like it's a very, I don't know, like it sounds like someone who's not quite as good as Dio, or someone who's not as good as, I don't know, like James. It's like not as good as Ian Gillan and Dio at the same time, you know?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. He's up against those guys.